What's going on, guys? Guy here. Today I will finally finish off my series of Battlefield 4 main battle tank guides. In my previous parts I have talked about all the unlocks for the main battle tanks, and this video I will briefly explain how to use the tanks so you can last longer on the battlefield, and just talk about some of the problems of the main battle tanks at the current moment, and just lastly talk about my loadout when I use the tanks. So if you haven't already watched the previous parts, I will link it down below in the description for you guys to check out, because some of those guides can be very helpful to most people, I think. One question which I always see people ask about is how to stay alive longer, either in a tank or just staying alive on the battlefield in general. One tip which I can really give you when playing with the tanks is play it slower. Don't rush in the middle of the battle suddenly, just shoot from a safe distance and slowly move in towards the main action where there's less enemies, and if you can, flank around. I know it's kinda obvious to do that, but some people I still see just run into the middle of the action and then they get blown up by mines or something. Plus, in Battlefield 4, there's so many types of rocket launchers for the engineers, and every class has their own explosives. So your tank won't be as powerful as it has been in Battlefield 3. You just can't run in there and expect to kill everyone, because you're in a tank, especially in rush or obliteration, you're very easy to kill because there's not that many of you. And if you do get too close, you will get C4'd very easily, because as a tank, you're huge and you're very bulky, so you're most likely less aware around of your situation, so recons and support players can easily sneak up on you and C4 you. Plus, the range where the C4 can be thrown is much further than Battlefield 3's, so someone can just chuck one at you without being even too close, and they can also slide a bit too, which makes them very effective. A good tip that I can give you when you know you're about to get C4'd is just to back up or just drive. A lot of times when players are planting C4s onto vehicles, I've noticed that they don't really care where they're relevant to the vehicle and just wants to put C4 on it. So what ends up happening is sometimes they're right behind you or right in front of you, so it makes it super easy for you just to run them over. The last big tip which I can give you to become a better driver as a main battle tank is just to have a good secondary for infantry. Any of the shells aren't that good against infantry and are more designed for armored vehicles like tanks, so I would recommend to use a machine gun or even the canister shell if you wish, so you can take out some of the infantry running around, because again they do have some explosives and they do some damage to your tank. With these three important, maybe obvious tips, hopefully you can stay alive much longer on the battlefield with the main battle tanks now. Now, as the gunner of the tank, I would say you have really only one main goal, and that is to keep your tank alive. Now, I would recommend you not to play with any other class except for engineer. If you're not playing with the engineer kit when you're gunning for the main battle tank, you have two problems. First, you cannot repair your own tank, and secondly, you cannot help cause damage to the other tank, which most likely will not happen with recon or support or even assault. So you must run the engineer kit in my opinion when you're gunning. But if you are running the engineer kit, that's good. Now what I would recommend you to do is, if you see an enemy main battle tank, just quickly hop out and shoot one RPG to it and just start repairing your tank, because that one RPG can really help your driver in taking out the other tank, and overall will help you win the tank battle. Now let's move on to another topic with the tanks, and let's talk about the problems with them. At the time of making this video, there's a huge problem with the staff shell. I'm sure most of you all know what the problem is and probably agrees with me. The staff shell, which already makes long range tank sniping super easy because it basically has almost no bullet drop and it automatically locks onto targets nearby itself and blows up. So it's already a bit overpowered in my opinion, but that's not the problem. The problem is that if you fire your primary weapon and then switch back to your staff shell and then quickly switch back, you will be able to fire the 2 rounds very quickly. This makes tank battles super quick, and if your enemy doesn't do what you're doing, he's basically in a huge disadvantage. I believe this is probably the biggest issue with the tanks right now in Battlefield 4, and I'm sure DICE also realizes this and probably will fix it very soon, but they just haven't rolled out the big patch which we have been all waiting for, and I really hope that patch will hopefully fix many of the bugs and problems with Battlefield 4 that we have been experiencing. Now it comes to the last part of the video where I talk about my main battle tank loadout. I believe this loadout is possibly the best loadout as of now, but it could change at any moment when they patch the game. I would definitely recommend you guys this loadout to try to use if you already haven't been using it. In the primary weapon section, I run the Sabot shell because I feel it does around the same damage as the HE shell, while it travels much faster, almost 100 meters per second more. This will help me hit further away targets and hit targets with more precise and accurate shots. Then for my secondary weapon, I'm kind of forced to use the staff shell because, as I've explained before, with the staff shell problem, if you aren't using it, you're probably in a disadvantage. But when they do patch this, I will switch to the staff shell back and forth with my favorite secondary weapon, the HMG or the heavy machine gun. For me, the HMG is completely shreds infantry and it kills pretty quickly, and you can only land a few shots and you'll probably kill them. For my countermeasure, I'm sure most people are already using this, and this is the active protection. This basically helps me to win tank battles because it blocks one, or if you're lucky, maybe 2 tank shells from the enemy tank, and that 1 or 2 shells really count. It's the matter of life or death, plus if I am getting RPG'd, I will have a way of protecting myself for a bit until I can leave the area. In the optic section, I am using zoom optics like I always do. It just really helps me to snipe enemy vehicles and tanks which are too far away, and the other 2 optics such as IRNV and thermal are just a bit too bright and you can't see very far with them. Then for my upgrade section, I use autoloader, but some people may ask why aren't I running reactive armor. For me, I feel like there's almost no difference with using it or not. It's not like how it was in Battlefield 3. If your armor is destroyed, you can repair it and it helps you to hit more hits. But now in Battlefield 4, it just helps you to take less damage overall. So to me, it just felt like it made no difference whatsoever. So that's why I went with autoloader, which I probably think is the next best thing. In the gunner optics section, I am using the gunner zoom and sometimes switching to the gunner thermal. Gunner zoom just helps me again shoot targets much further away, but gunner thermal sometimes help me to spot enemy mines or hidden slams on the ground which the tank driver can run over, so it helps me to protect him and me. And lastly, for my gunner upgrade, I am running the gunner incendiary. This is basically an incendiary grenade for the tank gunner. You can launch it and it just damages only enemy infantry. I would say it is the best thing for holding down an area. If you're playing obliteration, use it to make sure no one will defuse the bomb. Anyways, this sums up for the whole main battle tank guide. I really hope you guys enjoy watching this video and the whole series. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and a comment down below. I will greatly appreciate it. I will continue to strive for being number source of Battlefield 4 videos. Peace out, guys.